Hello and welcome back to my art studio. My name's Amanda and I hope you've been well. The weather here in Suffolk has been really bad. The tiniest bit of snow we had this morning has been washed away by all the rain, but that does mean that this is a great day to do some sketchbook practice. So why don't you go and grab a nice cozy drink and come join me over on my desk and we can do some sketching together. Before we get to the sketchbook, I've been dying to show you one of my late Christmas presents that's finally arrived. These are the colour cubes from Sarah Renae Clark, volume 1 and 2, and I'm so excited. I've been playing about with these for a few days now and I really love them. Now, I struggle with picking colour palettes for my paintings. The perfect example of this was when I did the Christmas art challenge and I drew the 3 gingerbread houses. I think I just had some head loss and I thought, let's just use every colour under the sun. When really all I needed to do was rein in my colour choices and made a colour palette that made sense. It would have been less chaotic and I think I would have enjoyed painting more. This was also proven in my Christmas village painting. The colours complemented each other better and was less stressful to paint. You can buy these separately or together and they have 250 cards in each box, so 500 cards in total. They are all different, so with the generosity of my wonderful family this Christmas, I was able to purchase both boxes. They are not really that cheap and I was going to buy one of them and then the other one later on to spread the cost, but I've seen so many artists rave about how they have helped them get better at colour combinations, so I treated myself. These cubes would be really helpful to a lot of people and not just artists either. My sister, she makes cakes and she said that they would be helpful for her when she's picking out colours for her cake decorations. So anybody who uses colour would really benefit from these, even florists, or even if you were decorating your home. It kind of reminds me of going to B&Q and getting the little swatch cards for the paints. I remember going into Homebase or B&Q and collecting the paint swatches. I think it was for a school project, making mosaics or something, but they were free at one point. I'm not sure they even still do them, but it was handy to help you make a decision on wall paint. Sarah also has a digital interactive colour palette guide with all the cards on so you can quickly find what you're looking for. Although I think that's a great idea, I personally wanted the boxes because they are beautiful. Just look at them. And I think artists are normally hands-on kind of creatures and we like getting tactile. So I love the idea of laying them all out and having a good old look and rummage. Also, each card has a photo on them, which is really great if you suffer from the old artist block. You could just use these as references for warm-ups on days you don't have any idea on what to draw. Each card has about 5 to 6 colours and they all have a number. So if you wanted to keep them in order, I will try and keep them in order, but I am not making any promises, but I do want them to stay in their box. So obviously 1 to 250 will stay in the volume 1 and 250 to 500 will stay in volume 2. That's the plan. A new year and a new Etchr Everyday sketchbook. I love these sketchbooks, as you know. This time I'm trying out the portrait hot press version. The paper is 220 GSM and it's a size B5, which is a pretty decent size. It's bigger than the A5 landscape, as you can see here. This is my first portrait hot press sketchbook I've got from Etchr. So far, all my sketchbooks have been landscape and cold press. And although I do love the texture of cold press, I wanted to try out the hot as it's better for coloured pencils as it has less tooth. In my last video, I talked about my 2025 goals, and you may have heard me talk about my goal to start practicing drawing people, figures, and dabble in a bit of fashion illustrations this year. And it got me thinking about how to get started. As you can see, I have already started with some practice, which I wasn't very happy with, but to make sure I don't give up, I am giving myself a little art challenge. Yes. Another one so soon. However, this challenge will be to make sure I do at least one fashion/people illustration a month. Obviously, I hope I will have time for a lot more in between, but I do want to make sure one fashion illustration is done, and that would be inspired by that month. For example, if it's a winter month, I'll be including winter themes. A summer month would include summer themes. Plus, there is plenty of occasions throughout the year that could be inspiration. For example, Easter, I thought that might be fun. And I won't be too strict on the time frame to do the illustration for that month, as I don't want to rush it. But as long as the illustration is completed within the month, I think I'll be happy. It's kind of like a year-long art challenge that I'm setting myself, with the main goal to be getting better at sketching fashion and drawing mainly female figures. I will try and post a video of these drawings here on YouTube too, as I thought this would be a good way to welcome in the new month, and maybe we can swap ideas for the upcoming months. And I think finding inspiration for these little illustrations would be fun, and hopefully by the end of the year I will have a series of 12 fashion illustrations that I'm happy with. The good thing is that you can find inspiration for this basically everywhere: fashion books, magazines, Pinterest, and of course everyday life. And maybe I'll keep a mood board for upcoming months in my sketchbook. I used to love putting mood boards together for college and uni work, so I think I'll give that a go too. So to kickstart this art challenge, I have put together January's fashion illustration for you today. When I think of January, I think of cold, dark days, especially where I live. It's been freezing, lots of frost and ice in the morning, and me and my husband went for a lovely walk along the Norfolk coast last Saturday, and we had a walk around Holcombe Deer Park. Some of the lake had frozen in places, so it gave me an idea of an ice skating figure for January's sketch. My main idea for these illustrations is to let the figure be the main focus, with maybe a simple background which is blurry to set the scene. I also wanted to see if I could think of an item to go alongside the figure that also relates to the month and the theme. Like I've done here, I've drawn a pair of ice skates in the top left corner. I thought adding these could make the spread look a little bit more interesting and create a bit of a narrative, and this could work well for future months. By the way, I am using my Faber Castell HB Pit Graphite pencil, and I'm trying to keep the sketching light, as the amount of mistakes and amendments I do when drawing figures is kind of ridiculous, but it is needed to make sure I am happy with the proportions of the body parts. If you are like me, you kind of get frustrated when things don't turn out the way you thought they would in your mind, and when you create art you're not happy with, you start to doubt yourself and think maybe this isn't for me, or maybe I should stay with drawing things that I know and keep in my comfort zone. Unfortunately, we don't just wake up and know a new skill. Okay, there are people who are naturally good at certain things, but unfortunately that's not me with drawing. And I do have to sit and study a reference photo and map out in my mind the individual shapes to try and draw that subject. I have watched tons of YouTube videos on how to draw basic people shapes, and I do already have a few books to try and help me with the basics, and here are two that I really love. These are The Modern Fashion Illustration by Holly Nichols and Fashion Design Studio by Chris Hart. I think I may have mentioned Holly Nichols before in one of my videos, but I got her book a few years ago, way before I started to paint or draw. And I got her book as I just loved watching her reels on Instagram. They are so mesmerising and calming to watch. And Holly was the first person who showed me how to break down and draw a basic figure with basic shapes. This book is really helpful with tips on how to draw the female body and face, and even breaks down how to draw different kinds of fabrics and textures. I highly recommend this book to anybody who's interested in fashion illustration. As I said, I've also watched a lot of YouTube videos, which has also been really helpful and inspirational. And one of the artists I love watching is the Styleacholic. Amazing videos, and I'll link her channel in the description in case you're interested, but I really like her work, so go check her out.
Do you want me to finish that off?
Leave it these legs. I'm filming.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's right.
And now that I'm finally happy with my drawing, I am going over it with my Copic multi-liner, and then I'll rub out the pencil marks. I am going to use the help of my colour cubes to help me decide the colour scheme for the monthly fashion illustrations. And I think it'll be fun to pick out a card with a colour scheme which I think goes with each month. For January, I picked card number 151 from volume 1, as it has a nice shade of cool blues, cream colours and some greys. And I did think, let's go with the cliche and make the most of the January blues. And I thought these shades were actually kind of refreshing, which was perfect for the new year. I did a swatch of some watercolours which I wanted to be used for the sky. Some watered down Winsor and Newton Cerulean blue, I think that's how you say it, and Daniel Smith lavender, and finally a moon glow, which would be used for the tree line in the distance. As I said, for these designs, I want the backgrounds to not draw much attention. So I thought maybe this could be a blurry landscape in the distance. Probably the ice rink is outside on a frozen lake, and it's surrounded by trees. So with the three colours, I then painted the background using wet on wet, making sure that the colours blend well and create a moody winter sky, with cerulean blue at the top, fading into the lavender, and then the moon glow for the tree line. As for the art supplies I'll use for these monthly illustrations, I don't want to limit myself to just one medium. I was thinking this would be a wonderful opportunity to try out mixed media and use a mix of everything. Coloured pencils, pens, pastels, watercolour, gouache, and maybe go as far as a little bit of scrapbooking and sticking down different paper or materials. Who knows, but before I go and get a bit carried away and jabber on some more, I'll show you how I got on with January's design in this short time lapse, which I hope you enjoy. And as always, I will list all the art supplies I use in the description for you. So here is my finished illustration for January. I really enjoyed the whole process of putting this monthly fashion illustration art challenge, oh, that was a mouthful, together for myself, and hopefully it will pay off and help me improve my sketching and get the creative juices flowing for the new year. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for keeping me company today, and it would mean the world to me if you could give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my little channel. It helps so much. Until my next video, please stay safe and have fun making art that makes you happy. Take care. Bye for now.